Okay, so we've got this photo, did some kind of color correction. What I want to do is pull in a different photo here, this one taken from Smug Mug, and talk more about some color editing tools. Now, I won't say correction here because in this case, this photo, it's a professional photographer who came out here to do this. They know what they're doing, and this photo looks pretty good as a result. For instance, if I go ahead and I pull up my same levels adjustment, we see as far as an absolute white point, there is an absolute white point. There is an absolute dark point as well. So this photo is already pretty well balanced. Maybe I can adjust my midpoint to give it a little bit more pop. But even then, I want to be careful. It seems like the photographer thought through that. Even moving this a little bit, I start to lose some detail on her shirt and some of the other white elements in the photo. Same with the dark. I start losing detail on the hair and some other levels. So as far as that, this photo is pretty well balanced. That said, I would say it's still a little muted, right? And especially if I say want the photo to pop, and I'll talk about what that means. So on social media, people are scrolling through, there's a million different options. How do I make this photo stand out? Well, then you can start applying some other features to kind of give it that pop. And one of the ones I like to use, we'll go back to our adjustment layers, is the Vibrance tool. These hue, saturation, all these are going to work with the color in the photo. And I particularly like Vibrance. Now, saturation is one. If you desaturate a photo, you take it to full black and white. If you go all the way, you take all of the different color values, green, cyan, and yellow, and you blow them out, right? So you make them as intense as possible. Now we get this like slime green grass almost. Looks very unnatural. And the thing I don't particularly like about using saturation is it does it to skin color too. Not a huge big deal in this, but if we saw the face close up, it can kind of make the face look kind of like sickly or something. Vibrance, on the other hand, adjusts around skin tone, which is really nice. So I get them a little bit more of a natural glow. It brightens the color. It kind of gives them a little bit more lightness without seemingly giving it that artificial look to it. So I like to really bring up the vibrance on a photo to get a little bit more of that. The other thing I can use, and I would encourage you to explore a lot of these different tools in here, these different adjustment layers. What I like to use, though, is the color balance. And as I said, 3 color levels. We don't need to get into additive and subtractive color, but if you're from the art world, you probably know about these, right? And for additive color, cyan, magenta, and yellow, right, are 3 that are used, and then red, green, blue on the other side. So these are important color values. This is how color is rendered, not only in Photoshop, but on all computers. Anyway, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But what I can do here is kind of adjust the levels here until I get a particular effect. Maybe I want one color to pop out. For instance, they're on this green grass. I want the grass to really pop. So it would make sense. I want to bring that green up a little bit, right? It's starting to get a little bit more. And then also maybe I want to increase the brightness there. So instead of the blue, which is making it darker, I'll go the other way to the yellow. And now I'm getting a little bit more brightness. It's looking more like a spring day rather than a fall day now. And I can even play with the adjustment here and just kind of play around. Maybe the red is going to give it more of a kind of a burned out look versus a cooler look there with the cyan. Play with this until you really kind of find a level you really like, and pay attention to skin colors, other things. And then if you go too far down, remember, you can always remove the layer, see how it looks. I'm like, okay, not bad. So play around with this and take one of these photos and really try to think about making a certain color pop, put a different effect, and just kind of play around with some of these other options you find here.